I'm Alyssa, and this is warp number 3. I actually have not done a warp in a very long time, and I've missed it, but I'm glad to be back. And if you don't know what warp is, that is what Alyssa's recently played. Like my little spit on words? So, I'm covering the games I've played on Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch, so if you looked at my thumbnail and just saw the Xbox and PlayStation controllers, don't worry! I also played a Switch game or two. But I thought it'd be fun to dive back into the world of gaming more in my videos, so if you like this video, make sure to let me know in the comments down below, but let's get started. I've currently been playing Days Gone, and this game has gotten a lot of hate, a lot of mixed reviews, but also a lot of love, and I'm sitting at the point of the spectrum where I like it a lot. It's not a perfect game, but it's not as bad as a lot of reviewers and other consumers have said. I believe it's about a 7.5 out of 10 game, and I really am enjoying it. It's got an addictive quality to it. It's not perfect by any means, but it's fun. It's fun and challenging. You play as Deacon St. John, who is portrayed by Sam Witwer, whom I just love Sam Witwer to death. Like, he is a phenomenal actor. But you play as Deacon, and Deacon is a biker who, a couple of years ago, sent his wife Sarah, who is played by Courtney Draper, again, adore her, and Sarah was stabbed, and he sent her to get medical help, but he hasn't seen her since. So, the title Days Gone refers to how long he's been away from his wife. But the thing is, this world is full of what they call freakers. They're not zombies, but they're not humans either. They're infected with a virus that makes them act like zombies, but they're not, if you get my drift, but they kind of are at the same time. It's confusing, I know. But this virus also affects some animals like bears and wolves, and as Deacon, you are trying to make the world you're in safer by clearing out infestation nests, earning trust at refugee camps, and doing the main story missions, which is trying to figure out what happened to your wife, helping your best friend Boozer out, etc. The story does take a little bit to get going, and at first you don't really like Deacon. He's kind of an a-hole, to be honest. But as it progresses, you learn why Deacon is the way he is. The story becomes more interesting, there are more layers added, and the gameplay itself is challenging. It is similar to games like The Last of Us, and that's not a bad thing. You do have to do resource management, you have to keep your bike fueled up, you have to repair your bike, which that can be annoying to some people, but to me, it's kind of soothing, to be honest. And if you do get in a horde of freakers, you will die. Don't try to face a freaker swarm head on, because you'll die. You can handle 2 to 3 freakers at one time, but more than that, you're gonna get massacred. But I really like what this game does. I like that the day and night cycle does have an impact. It does inform how many freakers there are. I like that all the characters have different personalities and different dimensions, and each camp has different motivations. I really like the combat. It is very frantic but satisfying, very crunchy, as a lot of people say. It just feels really good. The gunplay feels good. The melee combat feels pretty good to me, especially after they patched it. I will say it does get a little annoying because you have a very low stamina bar, and the only way you can raise that is by finding syringes at checkpoints that you can either choose to raise your health, stamina, or focus, which focus is an ability to slow down time so you can better aim and shoot at freakers, wild animals, etc. So to find the syringes and to obtain them is a little tricky itself, but I mean, that's just a small little gripe that your stamina is low and your focus doesn't last very long when you first start. But if you can find these syringes, they help out tremendously. And I'm just really enjoying it. I still have a lot of game to go. This is a 30 to 40 hour game. I'd say I'm probably about 15 hours in, estimating I'm halfway through. And I've still got a lot of story to cover, a lot of missions to do, but I'm having a lot of fun with Days Gone. And I would say if you like zombie, survival, horror type of games, if you like The Last of Us, games like that, Days Gone is well worth your time. It's not as bad as people have made it out to be, but it's not as perfect as a lot of people, including myself, were hoping for. It is fun, it's solid, the acting is top-notch, it's just a little repetitive in some of its missions, and it is challenging, but I'm really enjoying it so far. The next game I want to talk about is Feather. I played this on my Switch, and this is just a very relaxing zen game where you play as a bird, you fly around an island, which the island itself is beautiful. There is a day-night cycle, but you just fly around the island, listen to the very soothing soundtrack. You can do optional things like gather fruit, you can find hidden caves, you can find portals that let you view the island in a different perspective. The only negative is it lasts about an hour to do all of this, including the optional content. But it is very relaxing. If you're feeling anxious or stressed out, playing this game will decrease that anxiety. At least it did for me. The soundtrack is perfection. Flying, I suck at flying in games, but it feels very intuitive in this game. It's very easy to learn and master. And just playing as this little bird is so cute. And the cool thing is, you can also have another player come into your world as a bird. You can't really do anything besides tweet at them, like actually tweet like a bird. Tweet, tweet! Tweet, tweet! But it's fun, and I did review this for the Gaming Outsider, so I'll have a link for that article down below, and also check out their website. And I also covered this in a podcast of theirs, so check out their podcast as well. So I have to thank the Gaming Outsider and Samurai Punk for providing the review code for Feather. I had a good time playing it, but if you're not into games like Flower, Journey, etc., if you like a game that has combat and challenge, this is not the game for you. This is just a very relaxing experience more than a game. But if you're looking for something to de-stress and kind of just unwind with, Feather is worth your time. The next game I want to talk about is Vapour, which I have to give a big thank you to Fatbot Games for providing a review code for this game. I am really enjoying this game, but there is a big caveat with this. It makes me extremely motion sick. I cannot play this for large chunks of time. And this is a grid-based dungeon crawler. I have never played a game before of this nature, so I was not expecting for it to make me feel as sick as it does. So that's my fault for not realizing that it could potentially cause that, because it is played in the first-person perspective, and your movements are very much rigid. You move left, right, up, back. So it does cause motion sickness if you are susceptible to it, which I usually do not get motion sick during games. I'm usually fine playing FPS games, VR games, but this one triggers it, and it makes me really sad because I really enjoy it. Vapour is set in a steampunk world. The story is super interesting. I don't want to spoil it for you, but when you uncover snippets of the story, it just adds so much excitement to the game. It's really intriguing. The combat and puzzles are difficult, and I mean difficult, and the really good thing about this game is you can lower or increase the difficulty depending on how challenging you want this game to be. But even on normal settings, this is a very difficult game, both in its combat and puzzle solving. The enemy variants are really interesting. They each have their weaknesses and strengths, and the cool thing about this game is you get to choose from 3 different rigs at the beginning of the game. You can choose between heavy, assault, and I forget what the other is called, but it's a build that specializes in the use of gadgets. I chose the heavy rig because it's the most well-rounded and it's the best for people that have never played this kind of game before or want a less challenging experience, which when I mean less challenging, I mean it's not that less challenging. The assault rig is for the people that, you know, like to do a lot of damage, but it comes with less HP, and again, I said the other rig specializes in the use of gadgets. It's kind of the mage class, if you will, of this game. The graphics look really, really cool. Again, the steampunk aesthetic just is a wonder to look at. And I really wish I could play this for longer than about 30 minutes because it's a really cool, challenging game, and it's got a lot of potential. I think a lot of people will love this game, especially if you like grid-based dungeon crawlers like Legend of Grimrock, Etrian Odyssey, etc. It's just I can't personally play it for large chunks because it makes me feel extremely sick, and that makes me sad. But this game is really good. It's got incredible combat. The puzzles are challenging yet satisfying to solve. The story is wonderful and so interesting. So if it sounds like something up your alley, check it out. Just if you're like me and you might be susceptible to motion sickness, watch out for that. But I played it on Xbox One. It looks great. It plays well. I had no issues with any kind of freezing or anything of that nature, so I highly recommend it. It just makes me sad that I can't play it for longer than very short periods of time. I also played Silence, which again, thank you to Daedalic Entertainment for providing a review code. This is a very charming point-and-click adventure game where you play as two siblings, Noah and Rini, who are hiding in a bunker during an air raid when their bunker is hit, where they are transported to the world of Silence, which is the world Noah came up for Rini when he tells her stories, and the characters from the story are in the world, and you play as both siblings, and you solve very gentle puzzles to make progress through the world of Silence. And this game is so beautiful to look at. It looks like a watercolor painting. It's very bright and vibrant. I like that there are different dialogue options. There are multiple endings in this game. And I love the sibling relationship between Noah and Rini. My major complaint with this game is that the voice acting for Noah and Rini is very iffy. It's not very well done, and it kind of pulled me out of the game a little bit. The supporting characters are voiced wonderfully, but the main characters that you are supposed to latch onto, the voice acting is not good. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the actor and actress who voiced Noah and Rini, but it's not good. I'm sorry. I hate saying that. I hate bashing that. But it really does kind of pull you out of the immersion. But that's my biggest gripe with Silence, is the voice acting. And it is also a little too easy. Even with hints and highlighted objects turned off, it's a little too easy. There's no combat really in this game. It's more puzzle solving. And it's very simple, which if you're like me and you don't like a lot of challenge with puzzles, usually this is perfect for you. But if you do like challenge with your puzzles, you're probably going to be a little bit disappointed. And it's also only about 4 hours, which I think is a perfect length, but others might take issue with that. But for the most part, I really enjoyed my time with Silence. It was very charming. I loved being in this fantastical world. I love the relationship between Noah and Rini. They really love each other. I loved the story. I loved how it has darker themes. With them having been in an air raid, I really appreciated the multiple dialogue choices and the multiple endings. I just really like this game. It's not going to be for everyone, but if you like really cute point-and-click adventure games that are very simple, but the story is strong, check out Silence. Also, I have to mention Silence is very expensive on the Switch, which I played on. The controls are very intuitive, by the way. But I would say if you're interested in playing Silence but don't want to pay $40 on Switch, you can play it on PS4 and Xbox for $30 or PC for $20. So pick your poison, pick your console of choice, but just be warned that it's more expensive on console than it is on PC. I also received This War of Mine Stories, A Father's Promise by 11-Bit Studios for review, and I played this on my iPhone, and this is a wonderful game. This is a standalone story set in the world of This War of Mine, and you play as a father whose daughter is very sick, and you must gather resources for her. You have to build items and objects to help you along in your bunker. After you gather resources, the story picks up and there's a major mystery that happens, and it's very intriguing. It's super simple to control. At first it's a little confusing because you see all these symbols pop up on your screen and you have no idea what they do or mean, but you quickly figure it out. And it's a very hard-hitting game. It can be quite depressing at times, but it is very well done. I loved the story. I loved the mystery aspect of it. I loved the resource management. It was very simple to learn. And I like that feeling of panic that sets in when you realize you don't have enough resources to build, say, a bridge to help you get to another building for more resources, or you don't have enough supplies to build an oven so you can cook food so it's not raw and could potentially make you sick. And I liked the father-daughter relationship and bond, and how this father will do anything to protect his daughter. And on iPhone, it looks amazing. The visuals are very crisp. It's a very dark game, both thematically and visually, but it is very well lit on an iPhone. And I would say, if you like This War of Mine, or even if you haven't played This War of Mine, I haven't played This War of Mine, this is a very worthy game, and it's well worth your time. It is really interesting, and it's absorbing, and I highly recommend it. And the last game I want to talk about for this warp is Nier Automata. I originally started playing this when it first was released, but my HDD on my PlayStation 4 went bye-bye, it died, and for some reason my save data was corrupted, so I didn't play it for a very long time, and I just recently started playing it again, and I finished my first playthrough, and it was wonderful. I loved playing as 2B, I loved the relationship between her and 9S, and this world is just so interesting. There are so many unique side quests to do. The storyline is very emotional, is intriguing, it's dark, it's so much more than you think it's going to be when it starts out, and like I said, this is my first playthrough. To get the true ending of this game, I believe you have to play it 3 or 4 times, but it changes each playthrough, so you're not playing the exact same game every time. I loved it. I love Yoko Taro's vision. I adored the original Nier so much, and this I think is even better. It's not going to be a game for everyone. It's just not, with its very Japanese flavor, with its visuals. The visuals are nothing to shout about. They're very drab, but if you can get past the visuals, if you can get past the very Japanese aspect of this game, you're in for a treat. It is a wonderful RPG, the characters are so interesting, the story itself is just compelling, and I really like the battle system, I like the challenging boss fights, and I cannot wait to play this the second and third and fourth time to get the true ending, because it's just something to be played and experienced. And I'd say it's probably my favorite game I've played recently. Nier Automata is a hidden gem, and if you can get the Game of the Yorha edition that comes with DLC and some extra goodies, you are in for a treat. It is wonderful. So that wraps up this edition of Warp. Please let me know down below in the comments what games you have been playing recently. If you played any of the games I mentioned, let me know what you thought about them. If you liked this video, leave a like. Also make sure to share it if you liked it, because it helps my channel grow, and it tells me that you want me to make more of this kind of video. If you're not subscribed already, but you like what you've seen and heard, hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell if you haven't already, so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. If you'd like to follow me on social media sites, those are all listed down below in the description box. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!